Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Here to take a look at the pitching for today, the 19th of August. It is Wednesday, and we do have a 4-game day slate and a 9-game main slate this evening. From my understanding, there's nothing really to worry about. Slight delay chances in Cincinnati, which is on the main slate. A reminder that this is a first look at the pitching options on these slates, and I am looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you play in FanDuel, cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now, I will point out some guys, randomly that might just be FanDuel only type plays, etc. But it's tough to pinpoint those just from the beginning. So if anything pops up like that, I obviously try to point it out. Now let's just jump right into these games. Detroit and Pittsburgh. I'm super interested in this one. Early start time. Two teams that can strike out plenty. Jackson Jobe, super talented. Returned from his lengthy Tommy John stay and was great against San Francisco and then struggled mightily against the White Sox. I think we're going to see some inconsistencies as we've kind of learned this year from guys coming back from lengthy IL stints from the elbow and shoulder surgeries. They're probably going to keep him, in the mid-70s for pitch count the rest of the season. Really going to probably be a 5-inning guy. I don't know that he's capable of a 6-inning, 75-pitch performance. But there's so much K upside in the matchup that I'm very interested, especially at that price point. If this was a larger slate, he'd be one of my favorite GPP plays just because he's cheap enough while also containing a ton of upside. I don't remember if he was number 3, number 4 overall pick in the draft. So obviously, extremely talented pedigree. So I will definitely use some Jackson Jobe on this 4-gamer. On the other side, you get Paul Skeens. The curious case of Paul Skeens and what's going on. It's been a month since he bypassed 18 fantasy points. It's been 3 weeks-ish, 3.5 weeks since he picked up more than 7 strikeouts. It's been about just under 3 weeks since he even got to 7 strikeouts. There's some walk issues in there as well. There's some velo issues. He came out after 65 pitches last start, where he probably was capable of putting up, 20 fantasy points if he threw his normal, 90 to 100 pitches. So maybe things are a little bit on the return, but his velo is still down. I'm going to live here a lot. I'm going to take the chances. I'm going to kind of buy low on Paul Skeens. We haven't seen him at 10K in over 2 months. The only time he was cheaper than this was pitching in Colorado. And then third start of the year for some reason. But I'm still going to bet on the talent, and everybody's aware of the velo issues. So I'm hoping they kind of figured out some mechanical things that might be causing it. So we will see, but I'm willing to live with Paul Skeens on this 4-gamer. San Diego and the Mets. Robert Stock, not really somebody I'm interested in. A couple of 15s. It's not terrible. But I don't think he gets to 15 today. If I thought he got to 15 on a 4-gamer, I would probably use him. Michael King is somebody that I think I'm going to use, but there's potential to be a bit underweight. I'm not sure what ownership is, but 2 starts ago is really strong. Last start, not so strong. He's giving up home runs right now. 6 home runs allowed over his last 4 starts. It's kind of a recent trend I don't really love. That's over a third of his his home runs allowed total on the season in 1/6 of his total starts. He's a little worse on the road. And so another thing that stands out, some of the Mets swinging it decently. Not amazing by any means, but I'm going to use King, but I'm going to be somewhat underweight, which is tough to do on a 4-game slate. Atlanta, Minnesota, you get Taj Bradley and Smith-Shawver. Taj Bradley against a struggling Atlanta offense. Color me interested. He hasn't looked good recently. 10 walks over his last 15 innings. Just 12 strikeouts in those. I'm just kind of hoping for a little bounce back because we've had such a struggling Atlanta offense. I mean, Bailey Ober looked okay. Zabby Matthews looked pretty good. Josh Bradley gets him at home where he's been much stronger than on the road. So I'm willing to rely on Bradley and accept if he blows up in my face. Smith-Shawver on the other side, I am a little interested, but the Twins' offense has performed decently. His first start back in the majors after a lengthy IL stint as well. 4 strikeouts and 4 1/3, just 69 pitches. So, do have some question marks on length. He might be an 80 pitch guy or so, 85 maybe. But given the 4-game slate, I think he's worth some exposure. I think I prefer Jackson Jobe at that price range, but just to be a little different, and obviously because it's 4-gamer, going to be playing Smith-Shawver. Last game on the slate, from my understanding late last night, is that the wind was going to be blowing in. I have not looked yet this morning, but as long as that is still the same, Clay Holmes is somebody I'm going to utilize. He's a ground ball guy anyway, so the wind isn't a huge thing for him, but it allows him to kind of make some mistakes and get away with it. Now, he's not a big K guy, but there's K upside for him. There's a lot of downside in this matchup, I'll be honest. Obviously, this team, the White Sox, can hit right-handed pitching pretty well. His season numbers at home have been pretty strong, so Clay Holmes going to be a strong option on this slate, in my opinion. I have zero interest in Jose Urquidy. Not really sure what the White Sox are going to do from a pitching standpoint in this game. Main slate, Yankees, Baltimore, Orioles. I am interested in Will Warren just because I have obviously been interested in pitchers against Baltimore. He's been arguably at his absolute best this season when facing Baltimore. 21.8 and 31.8 fantasy points. He's coming off a game where he gave up 3 home runs and got smacked around by a struggling Seattle team. Definitely had some control issues in that one because 4 walks to go along with it. Just 3 weeks ago against the Cubs, he was pretty dominant, and the Cubs have been on fire over the last 2 weeks or so. So, Will Warren, somebody I'm going to play because he has upside, a lot of upside, and he's shown it in this matchup already this season. I have zero interest in Chris Bassett, even though I feel like you can just pick on the Yankees right now. His numbers at home have been phenomenal, at least from a ERA standpoint, home runs allowed standpoint. Walk rate is pretty low because it plummets. His K rate's much better when he's at home as well, but still, it's Chris Bassett, and I just don't think he's got a whole lot left overall. St. Louis, Cincinnati, the one rain potential spot. Definitely one we want to pay attention to because we get Chase Burns. 30-plus fantasy points in 2 out of his last 3 starts. Big-time upside. Has not faced St. Louis yet this season. St. Louis is not a huge K opponent, and I'd much prefer left-handed pitching against them. But still, Chase Burns is just really, really good. His home numbers are absolutely elite. So, the fact he's only given up 6 home runs and 68 1/3 is very interesting to me when pitching in that ballpark. On the other side, we get Matthew Liberatore. Capable of strong performances. 18 last time out against Chicago, which wasn't bad. 26 against Toronto, with 7 strikeouts even though Toronto doesn't strike out all that much. 27 against Atlanta, 26 against Atlanta. Like, he's capable of getting it done. Struggled with Cincinnati the first time he faced them. That's the big thing is Cincinnati can strike out a ton, or they can hit some home runs, and he has given up 20 of them in 119 innings. So it's a super volatile spot, but if things line up correctly, he's got probably 30 fantasy point upside in this matchup, which feels extreme because Liberatore doesn't feel like a 30 kind of guy, but I think there's probably 8 or 9 strikeout upside against Cincinnati. Toronto and Tampa Bay. Recently had played Max Scherzer. Not going to do that on this slate. He's been fine. Since his return from the IL, 2 earned runs or fewer in all 4 of his starts. And 2 of those came on solo home runs. So he's kind of been fine, but there's not a lot of Ks left in his arm. Plus, Tampa Bay is the toughest team in baseball to strike out. On the other side, you get Drew Rasmussen, somebody that I'm going to play the crap out of. I'm fine picking on Toronto. They knocked around Nick Martinez yesterday, which really kind of shocked me. He's been okay against Toronto this season with a 16 and a 20. The current version of the Toronto lineup is just so weak that Rasmussen is somebody I'm going to play. Take out last start, which happened in Sacramento, and he didn't pick up any strikeouts. He had 27 strikeouts in his previous 3 starts, all 33 plus fantasy points in those starts. So just a bunch of upside for me, and I will gladly take that upside. Just 4 home runs allowed in 61 2/3 innings at home. San Francisco and Cleveland. Not interested in Adrian Hauser, even though he looked great against Houston pitching in San Francisco. I think he's somebody that I'd only consider when pitching in that ballpark at home. On the other side, Parker Messick is somebody I am going to utilize. I definitely don't mind left-handed pitching against San Francisco, especially this weekend San Francisco lineup of late. He hasn't been as good from a fantasy point perspective at home, but he's still been pretty solid. 3 home runs allowed in 68 1/3 innings. That's wild, considering he's given up 11 in 74 road innings. Parker Messick going to be one of my top handful of pitchers on this slate for sure. The A's and Kansas City. Debating Seth Lugo. He's been pretty bad much of the season. We used him a couple starts ago, or last start it was. It wasn't against the Cubs, it was last start, and he struggled terribly. That's kind of what we have to figure. He's been better at home, but still, there isn't a whole lot of K upside. He walks a bunch of dudes now. Doesn't really give up home runs. And that A's lineup is pretty weak with everybody injured. Jeffrey Springs on the other side coming back off the IL. No thank you. Even though Kansas City isn't an offense I'm super afraid of, I'm not using Springs. Seattle, Milwaukee. Dustin May, somebody I'm going to utilize. 19 and then 22 in his 2 starts, Milwaukee. 2 earned or fewer in 4 straight starts, and was that 6 of his last 7. Walks are kind of an issue. Not a ton of K upside, but I do like the matchup. Just 83 pitches last time out to get through 7 innings with the Brewers. I'm going to utilize him. I think we can pick on Seattle. Logan Gilbert. I am going to mix in some Logan Gilbert. Feels gross, but Milwaukee just put up a ton of runs. I could actually see a little bit of a hangover. He's coming off a 28.5. One of his better starts of the season, so I am going to utilize just a little bit of Logan Gilbert in case there is that hangover for the Brewers. Washington and Texas, Cade Cavalli, definitely somebody I'm utilizing. Coming off a phenomenal start, 10 strikeouts, 18 strikeouts over his last 14 innings. Just a ton of upside, so I will gladly play some Cade Cavalli, even though I don't know that there's that much K upside in the matchup. I have zero interest in Kumar Rocker, even though the Nationals can strike out. Angels in Houston, I have to dig into Pecco a bit more because obviously the Angels strike out a ton. But I don't know anything about him, unfortunately. Urania, 25 plus in 2 out of his last 3. Not the greatest numbers overall against Houston, and he's pretty bad on the road from a fantasy point perspective, even though his underlying numbers are pretty solid. I am going to debate Urania as well. I have to dig into pitching in that game. And last game on the slate, I will consider Roki Sasaki because it is the Colorado Rockies, and they did put Hunter Goodman on the IL. but I'm also worried he hasn't been very good against them either. But that's somebody I'm just going to mix in. But there we have it. If you enjoyed it, bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, and get the alert anytime we drop videos here at TFS Army. If you want to join us, there's a link in the description. Promo code BOOK, BOOK, gets you 20% off. Best of luck, everybody.